In a previous feature, we profiled the 1977 disappearance of Margaret Celeste Dodd, a 28-year-old bank teller from Shady Spring, West Virginia. On September 7, 1977, Margaret Dodd left her workplace in Beckley and started driving home. She never made it there, and the ensuing investigation was unable to determine exactly what had happened. It is with very mixed emotions that Mysterious WV is able to announce a major development in this decades-old case. At least part of this complex mystery was recently brought to a close when the Raleigh County Sheriff's Department announced that they had positively identified the remains of Margaret Celeste Dodd. Raleigh County Sheriff Scott Van Meter made the announcement at a press conference in Beckley, West Virginia on July 17, 2017. At the conclusion of our feature, we stated that several sets of human remains had been found in and around Raleigh County since Dodd's disappearance in 1977. Two such sets of remains were found in 1991 and 1993, respectively. Each discovery prompted speculation that the remains may have belonged to Dodd. While the remains found in 1991 were soon ruled out, those found in 1993 were reportedly too badly weathered for identification. In January of 2017, Captain Larry Lilly of the Raleigh County Sheriff's Department took a fresh look at the remains discovered in 1993. The positive identification was eventually made through a combination of mitochondrial DNA testing as well as visual identification of some personal items found with the remains. One of these items was identified as an engagement ring, quote, unique to the 1970s. The DNA used for comparison was provided by one of Margaret Dodd's surviving brothers. Mysterious WV extends its condolences to Margaret Dodd's friends and family. And we can only hope that this most recent development, while saddening, may finally provide them with a sense of closure. However, even as one chapter in this mysterious case comes to a close, another not only remains open, but is now expanded. Somewhere, someone has gotten away with kidnapping and murder for nearly 40 years. Along with a sense of closure, authorities now hope to provide Dodd's friends and family with a sense of justice. Margaret Dodd left her job at the Cardinal State Bank in Beckley's Raleigh Mall at around 8 p.m. on September 7, 1977. The Cardinal State Bank was located here, in the parking lot of the Raleigh Mall at what is now a branch of United Bank. Dodd was driving a recently acquired green 1977 Chevrolet Chevette. The drive to her home in Shady Spring would have normally taken about 20 minutes. Dodd would have driven south on what was then a combined U.S. Route 19 and 21 bypass. For some reason, Dodd inexplicably pulled her vehicle off the road and into the parking lot of what was then an Amoco service station just outside of Beckley in Beaver, West Virginia. Another vehicle, possibly a green Chevelle or Nova, pulled into the station closely behind her. Eyewitnesses reported that Dodd exited her vehicle, taking her keys and purse with her, and began walking towards the vehicle which had stopped behind her. Moments later, screams were heard and a scuffle was observed around the vehicle parked behind Dodd's Chevette. Dodd was reportedly then forced into the back seat of this vehicle. Her abductor was then seen picking up Dodd's purse from the pavement, scattering several personal effects in the process. The eyewitness called the police, but by the time they arrived, Dodd and her abductor or abductors were long gone. Witness descriptions of the activity at the Amoco station were vague and sometimes contradictory. The lighting in the area was dim and caused surface colors to appear distorted. Amoco employee Paul Jenkins reported that the station closed at 8 p.m. and that no other employees should have been present at the time of the kidnapping. Not long after word of Dodd's kidnapping was broadcast on local radio, Beckley Chief of Police Thomas Dept was contacted by another employee of the Cardinal State Bank. The woman advised that Dodd had been followed in her car by a young white male driving what was described only as a green compact car. The Amoco station where Dodd's presumed kidnapping occurred is located here, along West Virginia Route 3, what is now called Ritter Drive. At the time of Dodd's abduction, the Amoco station had recently been renamed Herald Service Station. This was the last location where Margaret Dodd was known to have been seen alive. 16 years passed. In December of 1993, deer hunters on Bolt Mountain near the Wyoming County border came upon a human skull and several other human bones. The bones and skull were not covered up, but were visible on the surface just under the leaves. After some jurisdictional wrangling, the West Virginia State Police eventually undertook the investigation. Initially, it was reported that no clothing or personal effects had been found with the remains. Days later, authorities revealed that they had uncovered a nearly complete skeleton, along with several personal effects and clothing, which indicated the remains were female and dated to the late 1970s to early 1980s. State police also learned that the location where the remains were found was an area previously utilized as a dumping ground for nearby coal mines. It had also been bulldozed in a landscaping operation several years earlier. It was felt that the disturbance of the earth may have uncovered the remains and the other artifacts. The remains, now identified as Dodd's, were found approximately here, west-southwest of the small community of Bolt in the western part of Raleigh County, very close to the Wyoming County line. Just how Dodd got from the Amoco station in Beaver, where she was last seen alive, to the area where her remains were found may be key to solving the mystery surrounding her murder. By vehicle, the distance from Beaver to the community of Bolt is just under 25 miles. The fastest route from point A, shown here, to point B, approximately here, is the same today as it was in 1977. An alternate route, keeping mostly to West Virginia Route 3, also remains much as it was in 1977. Either of these routes would have taken approximately 40 to 45 minutes to drive if conditions were optimal. Authorities are interested in speaking to anyone along these routes who may have seen or heard anything on September 7, 1977, possibly between the hours of 9 and 11 p.m. With the positive identification of Dodd's remains, the investigation into her kidnapping and murder was revitalized, and another joint investigation team was formed. Shortly after Dodd's remains were located, Captain Larry Lilly of the Raleigh County Sheriff's Department went on the record as stating that there were indeed people that investigators wanted to talk with. In particular, Lilly and the others are especially interested in talking with anyone who may have spoken to or had contact with Dodd in the period leading up to her disappearance and during the day prior to her kidnapping. Dodd worked as a teller at the Cardinal State Bank and was known to have been present there between 1 p.m. and 8 p.m. on September 7, 1977. That day, Dodd was dressed in gray slacks, a blue sweater, and platform shoes. She often frequented a tavern in the Raleigh Mall known as Friar Tuck's Pub. Before she obtained her 1977 Chevrolet Chevette, Dodd would often spend time there while waiting for her husband Kent to pick her up on his way home from work. Captain Lilly is now working the Dodd investigation along with Sergeant R.A. Daniel of the West Virginia State Police, the agency who originally had jurisdiction over Dodd's disappearance in 1977.
Fittingly, both Lilly and Daniel are being joined in their investigation by former Beckley City Detective Frank Pack. Pack was one of the original investigators into Dodd's disappearance, and he was one of only 2 law enforcement officials from the state of West Virginia who made the trek from Beckley to Akron, Ohio, for what turned out to be nothing more than a bizarre but deadly distraction in the form of a phony extortion attempt.
The West Virginia State Police and the Raleigh County Sheriff's Department have stated that they believe there are questions in this case that still need answers. They are urging anyone with information on the kidnapping and murder of Margaret Dodd to either contact them directly or through Crime Stoppers of West Virginia at www.crimestopperswv.com. A $10,000 reward is being offered for information leading to an arrest and conviction in this case. If you have any information concerning the kidnapping and murder of Margaret Dodd, please contact the Raleigh County Detachment of the West Virginia State Police at 304-256-6700, the Raleigh County Sheriff's Department at 304-255-9300, or Crime Stoppers of West Virginia at 304-255-7867, or go online at www.crimestopperswv.com.